Now suppose we have a list of names that we need to sort by last name. Now you'll notice this list here is sorted by the first name. When we try to sort this, it's going to start with the letter A here, and then B, and then J, and these are all first names. Well, how can we, if we had, say, a list of maybe 800, 900 names, we certainly wouldn't want to have to type them out and then sort them that way. So how would we go about doing this? Well, so what we would do is copy this first column, and we would paste right next to that column. And there you'll notice right down at the bottom of that column, and it wouldn't necessarily be the bottom. Let's say this was about 300, 400 names long. This would, of course, extend to the column, to the bottom of the column, but this little clipboard would show up within your screen, so you don't have to worry about it disappearing. So here now you see it at this point, and you can click on this little arrow, this little pull down arrow, and it gives you a choice. Paste values only, paste format only. You've probably seen that if you worked with Excel. But notice this point here, split text to columns. Now that's interesting. So we click on that, and we can either let it detect automatically how to divide this up, or we can tell it how we want it divided. For example, if I click on those little arrows, it gives me a choice. Detect automatically, detect by using a comma. In other words, wherever the comma is where it will break it up. Semicolon, period, space. So now which one would we use? We would use space. See, because in between these names, we have a space. So we'd use that as a criteria for it to divide that into two columns. Now, if we had, for example, certain number sequences that are divided by hyphens, then we could click on Custom, and in fact, I'll show you. We click on Custom, and then it would allow you to put whatever it is that you want. In this case, it would be a hyphen if you were using that as a criteria, or whatever it might be. It might be a // whatever the case is. You would type that in there, and then it will use that as a criteria to divide that cell or these cells. So in this case, though, the criteria we're going to use is a space. So I click on space, and look what happens. It divided up my column. So now I can sort these names by the last name. And how would I do that? Well, in this case, as you probably guessed, I would leave them together and sort the whole group as a range. But here's something to keep in mind. Since I want to sort them by that last column, I would start with the top of the column that I want to sort, right? And that way I'm telling Google Sheets how I want this sorted, right? So I start with that column there that I want sorted, and then I just extend that range all the way through that entire range, including my original list. Okay. Now, when I go up to data, it'll give me that choice. Sort sheet by column C, which was the column that I wanted to sort with the last names, A to Z. Now, when I click on that, it sorts all of it. See? And so now that first original column is being sorted by the last name. You see? So it doesn't matter whether what the first name began with. It's sorting it by the last name. So now I would just highlight those columns that I want to delete. I can right click and it will give me the choice of deleting rows 1 to 8 or deleting columns B and C. I'm going to do that. B and C. Okay, and so now we have just that list, but it is now sorted the way we wanted, by the last name.